Hey guys, so I was looking around. I wasn't able to find a video that really taught the scale degrees the way I need you to understand like the function behind it. So I found stuff about the what, but it's so important that you also know the why. So I'm going to make this quick video for you to kind of illustrate that a little bit. And just a heads up, you may hear some extra noises in the background. My daughter is playing a video game online with her friend, and then apparently, and I just heard of this, the floor up in my son's room is lava. So yeah, he's on a call with one of his friends. So yeah, there you go. We'll work through it and go fast and have fun. So when it comes down to it, when the scale degrees, and this is what I need you guys to do, and everything I'm writing here, go ahead and take these notes in your own notes, and that'll definitely help out. So do me a favor and indent the way we've been doing, and then just draw that C major scale. Everybody loves the C major scale. It's our favorite scale that ever scaled. All right, so there you go, C major scale. And then as I was mentioning, the way I see this stuff, I kind of think of it in numbers. So I'm just going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. And the reason why I'm not going to 8 is because a C is a C is a C, right? For our purposes in scale degrees, you don't have the octaves change names. The octaves stay the same note, right? So a C is a C is a C. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. Okay? Now the most important of all of these scale degrees is going to be that 1. And so that 1, we call that the tonic. Okay, so the tonic is number 1. And if you're thinking, so it's the same thing, tonic over there. Tonic. And tonic, if you're thinking chess, okay, I don't know how many of you guys have ever played chess, but the tonic, that's kind of like your king, right? And he has his robes and, maybe his scepter and stuff like that. But that's your king. Okay, it's the most important, right? That's the one that you're looking for. Now, the next most important is going to be your 5. And the 5 is what we call the dominant. Okay? And the dominant, if you're thinking about that chess analogy, so if the tonic is your king, the dominant is your queen, right? She's got her own scepter as well, and there is your queen. And the reason why, and think about it, the queen in chess has all the power, right? The purpose is to conquer the other king. But how do you do that? You do that with the queen, because the queen has all the power, can move all over the board and make all those really important moves. Yeah. So with that, musically speaking, this is what we're used to hearing. So that's why I got There we go. So this is what we're used to hearing, right? You have that 1 chord, C major chord, but then from here, you hear the 5. The 5 wants to go to 1, but the reason why 1 has all that power is because of that 5. Okay, so the 5 is really, really, really important. Okay, now the next most important scale degree is your 4. Now I'm going to take a quick aside for a moment, and as many of you know, as all of you know, as I've talked about it, I used to be a skipper on the world famous Jungle Cruise, right? So this is a boat, right? But that's actually, we refer to that as a marine vessel. Now, if you had a marine vessel that traveled underneath the water, we'll throw a little periscope here. This is a marine vessel. This is a submarine vessel, right? You've probably heard that term before, submarine. Yeah, that's because this is marine, this is below marine, this is submarine. So with that, the 4 is your subdominant.
Wait, can I get the chest one?
Okay, and that's the subdominant because it's right below the dominant. Okay, and again, 4 is really important, especially when you're thinking of a lot of like pop music or Western tonal music. You're hearing a lot of this, where you have 1, 4, 5, back to 1, right? So you hear that progression a lot. So the 4 is really pretty darn important. Okay, now the next one that is super important is your 3, and 3 is referred to as the mediant. Now we call it the mediant. It almost looks like middle. We call it the mediant because it is right in the middle.
Wait, what's that? What's the
of 1 and 5. Your tonic and your dominant, right? So the mediant is right in the middle. And you're thinking, okay, why is that important? Well, the 3 is super important because when you're thinking about chords, is that major or minor? Well, the answer is you can't really tell because you're missing that 3rd. But if I add the 3rd, oh, that's minor. Okay, now your ear may have been telling you major before because that's because I was playing in C major, but then I flip that E and make it an E flat, and it makes it minor, right? So why is that important? Well, the mediant is important because the mediant dictates, if you're talking about major or minor, it dictates the tonality of the chord, of the triad. Okay, we're going to be talking about that a little bit later on, but that's why, like I said, that mediant is pretty darn important. Now, the next one that's pretty darn important, the next one in terms of order, is your 6. Now, your 6 is called your submediant.
I'm dead. I need help.
Apparently, my daughter needs help. In any case, that is your submediant. If you're asking yourself, wait, but Mr. Case, why is that the submediant when it is above the mediant? Well, very good question. You have your tonic to your dominant, and the mediant is in the middle. So you're building the triad up. But if you start at this tonic and you build the triad down between your tonic and your subdominant, what is in between your tonic and your subdominant? Well, that's your submediant. So going up, it's tonic, mediant, dominant. Going down, it's tonic, submediant, subdominant. Okay? All right. Now the next one that's super important, we're actually lowering the importance at this point. It's number 2. And number 2 is called, it's like a superhero, right? Supertonic. And supertonic sounds supertonic. It sounds very, very, very important, right? But here's the thing, and I'm saying this as a little brother. Okay, my brother, he's 5 years older than me. I idolized him growing up, and I still love the guy. But I always wanted to be like hanging out with the big kids, right? And anytime they came over and they were, him and his friends were playing video games or anything like that, I'd always want to play. Right. And yeah, the little brother, we don't. So what they did was they gave me, like, if we're playing like Atari 2600. Yeah, I'm that old. Or, maybe Nintendo, the original Nintendo 8-bit. They would give me the extra controller, right? They'd give me the one that wasn't plugged in. And they'd say, here you go, Ben. And so I was like playing on the controller that wasn't ever plugged in. Right? So I thought I had all this power. I thought I was supertonic, right? But instead, I was just kind of there. Just kind of playing along. And that is essentially what's going on with number 2. Number 2 is significant, especially when you talk about extended chords. It's a really beautiful addition to that extended chords. The 9th chord is great. But when it comes down to actually scale degrees and level of importance, it doesn't really live up to its name. Now, its name supertonic is less about like its power and more about its position. So if you're thinking like a variable, like you've got x squared, x is what we refer to as script. The 2, the squared, since it's above, we call that superscript. Okay, so it's a setting in Microsoft Word. You can check it out, superscript. And it's right there. So you have the script and then superscript. That means right above, right? It means above. So that's why you have supertonic right there, number 2. Okay. All right, and then last but not least, you have the 7. Now here's the thing. I kind of lied to you, and I apologize, but I lied to you. I told you that at the very beginning, the tonic was the most important. And that, well, while it is absolutely very important, and while I said that the tonic gets its power from the queen, which is the dominant, right? The queen actually gets its power from the 7. And the 7 is the leading tone. Now, if you're going with me on all these analogies,
okay, just try to
leading, that's supposed to be a G, leading tone. Writing sideways is tough. Okay, so the leading tone. Now, the leading tone is super duper important in the sense that, like, if you're thinking back to royalty, right? If the king is right here, the king is kind of a puppet. And the leading tone is the guy in the shadows pulling the strings. Okay, the leading tone is the one that has really all the power. And the reason why, well, listen to this. I stopped on the leading tone, right? And it wants to resolve. So that leading tone literally points to the tonic. It points to the tonic because the tonic is that important. And it is because the leading tone is just a half step below that tonic. That's why it makes so much important. That's why it's so significant. We talked about that with like natural minor, right? Is natural minor, you have a whole step below. Harmonic minor, you have the half step below. So that half step creates the tension that just demands the release, right? Demands the resolution. That's a leading tone. And that's why it's so important. Okay? Now, this is for major scales. Now, major scales, that all works. That's all nice and fine. I want you to go ahead and draw our B and our A to kind of complete that minor scale now.
Wow, I still like
Okay, so I'm going to erase these numbers, and I'm going to restart my numbers. So I'm going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. Okay. So with these, all of the names pretty much stay the same, right? So the 1 is still the tonic. 2 is still the supertonic. 3 is still the median. 4 is still the subdominant. 5 is still the dominant.
Jada, could you do one last
6 is still the sub-median, but it's the 7 that changes. Okay? Right now, the 7 as a G natural is a whole step below the A. So we call that, just like we have up here with the submarine. Okay? Submarine. The 7 is the subtonic. Okay? So natural minor only. In natural minor, the 7 is subtonic. Okay, because it's a whole step below. And then 1 is, like we were saying, that's tonic.
Okay, could we try around?
Now, if you're thinking harmonic minor, if we take that G, we go Josh Groban on the G,
change it, and then do
and we raise it up. Now, this is a half step below the tonic. So just like we learned here, when a half step below the tonic is leading tone, because it leads to it. Excuse me, that G sharp is now a half step below. It is now,
so
instead of subtonic, it is now the leading tone.
Different sets.
Okay, so it's a leading tone in harmonic minor. Okay, harmonic minor only. All right, cool. So those are your scale degrees. Now, what is this? How is this going to actually work? Like, what are you going to see in terms of the actual questions? What is it going to look like? Well, it'll look like something like this. And you'll have a C. All right, and then it'll ask you, that C is the sub-median in something major. Okay, it'll always tell you quality of the chord or quality of the scale, the major or minor. But that C is a sub-median. Well, think about your numbers. right? Or if you're thinking solfege, right? If you're thinking do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, or if you're thinking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, what number is that submediant? Well, that's going to be your 6.
I'm ready.
Right? So 6. And you can even put that in parentheses if you need to. So if that's your 6, 6, 7, 8. And then you just count up. Okay, so the answer is going to be E-ish. Okay, that's E-ish. Because remember, with all this, you're looking for the tonic. So I'm curious, is C natural in the key of E major? No, it's not, Mr. Case. No, it is not. Good job, third person falsetto. It is not. What is in the key of E major? C sharp. Good job, third person falsetto. So that's a C sharp. If you're thinking about the whole half thing, right? So that's a C sharp in your key signature. But you can't change the question, so you have to change the answer. So if the C sharp is in E, a C natural, which is a half step down, you have to, what you do to one, you do to the other. So that E turns into an E flat. So C is the submediant of E flat major.
Try.
Okay, so those are going to be the types of questions you're going to see on the homework. Take a look at them and bring your questions either to our office hours throughout the week or to class on Thursday. And we'll see how it all goes. Hope you have a fantastic weekend. Take care of yourselves, guys. We'll see you later.